Hi, Devon West here with Medicare Saving Solutions. This is the first of a short series of videos that I'm putting together to hopefully help the outlook on agents and brokers and improve the public and government's perspective on agents and brokers. And this one is going to be centered around compliance and working ethically in order to help our clients. The more we do that, the better things will become. And less fraudulent activity will help that as well. So this video will be all about that. Compliance isn't only here because someone says there needs to be compliance and there needs to be regulation. Regulations are actually here to protect consumers from fraudulent and unethical activities. Most regulations are the symptom or the result of bad actors or uneducated actors. As Medicare health insurance brokers and agents, we often complain about the regulations that we have to deal with day to day that are mostly brought about as a result of a small group of agents or brokers acting unethically or fraudulently. So the best thing that we can do to deal with current regulation and avoid further regulation is to act compliantly and ethically when dealing with our clients. I'd actually argue that acting ethically is the main way to avoid further regulation. Regulation is a solution to problems that have already occurred, but ethics is a proactive solution to problems that have not yet come up. Acting ethically includes being conscientious and cognizant of what is right and wrong. If we're all doing our best to operate as ethically as possible, then there will be less future regulations. We'll go over a couple examples of what goes on in the industry and how to handle these appropriately going forward. First, we don't have any specific rule that says that we should be explaining both Medicare supplement plans and Medicare Advantage plans to every potential client. But ethically, we should, because people need to know their options and the consequences of going one way or the other. There are many agents out there that have strong opinions about one plan type or another, or live in an area where one plan type is stronger in an area than the other. And they let these things get in the way of helping the clients as best as possible and finding them whatever is best for their specific needs. As agents and brokers, you're of course able to express your opinions however you want, but you should also know the difference between the plan types, regardless if you're in an area where one might seem better than the other. Second, this is an example that has to do with the overuse of SEPs or Special Enrollment Periods. What happens is agents and brokers submit applications falsely indicating that somebody has a special election period or qualifies for one. One of the main special election periods that people overuse is disaster declaration special election periods. This is where if there's a disaster declaration in your county, you're able to get onto another plan if you need to, if that disaster affected you during a valid enrollment period, another valid enrollment period, such as the annual election period or initial enrollment period when you're first getting onto Medicare and the plans. So people use these special election periods as a way to get someone to change plans and sometimes without their knowledge. And most of the time, a lot of times this is done under false pretenses. The rule states that you have had to been affected by that natural disaster in some way, and that kept you from using a valid enrollment period at another time. Again, the annual election period or the open enrollment period, something along those lines. If brokers and agents use this election period compliantly and correctly, this can be huge for our clients going forward. There's always the chance that they get rid of or won't allow us to use these election periods if they're overused and abused. Another one that gets misused is one that is for people moving to a new county, a special election period for moving, basically. And when that happens, when somebody is relocating to a new state or county, they're able to choose a plan based on their situation in that area and the plans that are available to them in that new area. And this gets misused because agents and brokers will put on the application that they have moved when they actually haven't. And sometimes this doesn't get checked by Medicare or the carriers, and they'll be on the plan going forward. A lot of this is the idea of the broker or the agent trying to make a buck and moving people into plans when they shouldn't have a valid special election period or a valid election period at that time. Instead of waiting until the annual election period or open enrollment periods, they'll try to push these other things through, and it just hurts everybody else in the process. And sometimes it's actually due to the consumers becoming aware of these special election periods because they want to make a change or move, but they don't have any other options. And somehow, some way, they get an idea that they can use one of these. And it's just not a good idea unless somebody is absolutely certain that they do qualify for the special election period. So as an agent or broker, it's best for everyone involved that you decline to use these SEPs unless you know 100% that the person that you're sitting in front of does qualify for it. So like I said before, a lot of this has to do with agents and brokers being uneducated, but some of it has to do with agents and brokers that are unethical and fraudulent trying to make a buck. Now, agents and brokers and agencies, FMOs, and carriers even are all seeing the downside effects of this type of unethical activity. The industry as a whole is being seen in a very bad light, and at this time, many of these bad actors are losing money because they didn't realize their way of doing business doesn't work in the long run. They can't take care of the clients. They won't be able to keep clients if they're not treating them the absolute best that they can be treated. So all in all, doing things the right way and really taking care of our clients will lead to success and stability in the industry going forward. That'll keep regulation away. That'll make us look better among the public and among the government. I'm always available if somebody has a compliance question that they need to run by and don't have anybody to ask. I don't know everything and I may need to do a bunch of research, but I'll be able to find the best answer that I can for you or point you in the right direction. So if you do have any questions or need any help with this stuff, my email is Devon, DEVON, at mymss.com. That's DEVON at mymss.com.